do 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 do. Hello. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the game industry and Apogee and ID software and where it is right now. Yeah, as you must definitely know, Apogee at the end of the 90s decade, rather in the middle of it, they changed their name to 3D Realms and started going in a different direction with their games, starting with Duke 3D. Yeah, Duke Nukem pretty much became their mascot after that. And since then, pretty much almost no other games like this came into existence, except with Epic Mega Games, who made Jazz Jackrabbit 2 and released that in 1998. And yeah, that brings me to another topic I wanted to discuss. It's you know that there are wars between different factions of utility and entertainment, right? You know about the war that was going on between Nintendo and Sega, and the war between Windows and Mac, and the war between Nickelodeon and Disney to some extent. Maybe not a great example, but yeah, there was also a much more obscure war going on, and that was the war between Apogee and Epic Mega Games. Right. To the PC world, Apogee and Epic were the equivalent to Nintendo and Sega. And if I pick a name for each of them, I'd say Apogee would be Nintendo and Epic would be Sega. Because, like Sega, the quality of Epic's games aren't really as great as Apogee's games, but they did have a couple of good mascots, like Jazz Jackrabbit and Jill of the Jungle, and that was about it. And then they just started putting all their efforts into Unreal Tournament games, and yeah, that's their story. Yeah, I even read that in some beta versions of Wacky Wheels, there was a console code that where the user, if the user types "no fun" into the console, it says "searching for Epic games on your computer." But it was removed in the final version. Isn't that a funny story? Yes, they had a bit of a rivalry going on. And, as you know, back in the very early 90s, Year was like exactly 1990. The guys who were working, the guys who became ID Software were working for these people called Soft Disk. And then they decided that they wanted to be their own boss and make their own games. So they tried making a carbon copy clone of Mario Bros. 3, except with Dangerous Dave as the lead character in it, and pitched it to Nintendo, but they said that they didn't want any ports of Nintendo games to the PC, so they decided to make their own game, and that's where Commander Keen came from. With some help from the genius mind of Tom Hall, of course, in the programming of John Carmack. And Bobby Prince couldn't have come into it in the beginning because there was no music in the first 3 episodes of Commander Keen. But, yeah. Of course, you know, Commander Keen is a lot more obscure than their big name games now, and that looks like a color code up there. Blue, cyan, green, magenta, red. 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 Blue, cyan... Oh, it looks like I found the shard. Did I find the shard? I'm going to go back and check with that girl. Because I think that blue thing in the items bar is the shard. But I might be wrong. Oh no, there's a shards thing over there and it's empty. So I guess I don't have it. But, yeah. I found Commander Keen rather recently, because they don't advertise it very much, and I was a fan of ID Software and their games, and I did a little research and found out that, their very first game was something called Commander Keen, and I downloaded both that and Duke Nukem, and I was expecting Duke Nukem to be the first Duke Nukem to be really great, if the third one was an indication of anything, but it turned out that it really sucked. I mean, no offense to any of you 90s DOS gamers who like it, but I think it's really lacking. The Commander Keens came out before that, and they're so much better than it. I just don't think there's any excuse for Duke Nukem to have the low quality that it did. Yet he evolved into this major video game icon. And because the third game was so great. The second game, I don't know, it was okay, but I don't think that was very good either. It wasn't as bad as the first one. And, I'm gonna follow the slime and lay a mine. Oh, there's an invincibility. But, just run over it. And before I grab that, I am going to stop recording.